Hello, fourth grade Tigers. Today's lesson is our last lesson on compare and order whole numbers. So as usual, we're going to start the day off or the lesson off with a math warm up. Today's going to be a math stretch. So we're going to stretch your mind. I want you to describe 1 million in as many ways as you can. Think of all the different ways that you can come up with a million or different ways that a million could look maybe. So I want you to pause your video and write this down in your journal or on some paper. And then when you're finished, come resume the video. Okay, let's see if you came up with some of the ways that I did. I started off with 1 million, and it's written here in word form, except for they didn't write out the one, but I can write this in the standard form. So let's do that. 1 is the millions, period. Here's the thousands, period, and the units, period. And that gives me 1 million. So there's my number in standard form. I can also think of 1 million as 700,000 plus 300,000. So if I do 700,000 plus 300,000, that would represent 1 million. Why? Because if I were to put the 300,000 under the 700,000 like this, and I added them up, 7 plus 3 is 10, my comma goes here, and then I have my 1 million. So that's one way I can say it, and I can do that any combinations of ways that's going to make 1 million, or it's going to, yeah, make 1 million. So another way I can describe a million is I can talk about what we've been doing, which is comparing numbers. So I can compare them using greater than or less than. So let's say I have 1 million, and I say that it is greater than 400,000. Would that be true? Sure it would, because this is in the one, we have all the way to 1 million here, and we don't have millions over here. We only go to the 100,000s. So by that, we can tell that that is 1 million is greater than 400,000. We could also do 100 million. I'm sorry, not 100 million. 1 million is less than, let's say it's less than 1 billion. Let's write that big number out. My billion, millions, period, my thousands, period, and my units, period. And if I look at the two numbers, I see that this one is shorter because it only has 7 digits, and my billions have 10 digits. So I know that if I were to compare those, that 100 million, or sorry, 1 million would be less than 1 billion. So those are just a couple of ways. You probably came up with more than that, but we're going to go ahead and move on to our launch of our lesson. Okay, so we're launching our lesson today on comparing and ordering numbers. We have task A. Order the zoo animals from least to greatest and then from greatest to least. So you have zoo animals in a chart over here, and we have animals on on the left and weight in pounds on the other. So you're going to order them first from least to greatest, and then you're going to order them second from greatest to least. So pause your videos, work this out on paper, and I will be back with you in a minute. So when you're finished with this, pause. You're going to pause it now, and then you're going to resume when you're ready to start. Okay, so task A, order the zoo animals weight from the least to the greatest, and then do it from the greatest to the least. Okay, So let's start. Let's go ahead and get them ordered from least to greatest. So I look at my poundages and it's 3,195, 3,152, 3,182, 3,128. So I'm going to look at my greatest value, which is the thousands, and they're all the same. Okay, so I can't compare yet. So I need to look at and I kind of like to draw a light line through them, not so much that I can't still see the number, but it's like I know, okay, I can't use any of those. Now I look to the hundreds column and I have a one here, a one here, a one here, and a one here. Well, I can't use the hundreds to compare them yet. So far they're the same. They're all 3,100 something. So now let's look to the tens column. So I have a 9 for the rhino, a 5 for elephant, 8 for hippopotamus, and 2 for giraffe. Remember, I'm doing least first. So which of these digits is the least? The 2 is the least. So this means that my giraffe is the least. So if I'm writing least to greatest, I'm going to put my numbers here. And when I write my numbers in a list, I like to put a semicolon between them instead of a comma, because a comma usually separates the periods and the numbers to make it easier to read. So that's why I use a semicolon so I don't get confused thinking that it's like just a really huge number. Okay, so I'm finished with that one. Now let's look at the 9, the 5, and the 8. So between those three numbers, which is the least? The 5 for the elephant. So the elephant would go next. That would be 3,152. So I'm finished with that one. Put my semicolon so I can get to my next one. And then, okay, so I have a 9 and an 8. 8 is less than 9. So that's my third number, 182. And then I have my largest number left, 3,195. Okay, so that's for least to greatest. Now from greatest to least, since I've already put these in order, what do I need to do? I can just do this. 5. That's the greatest one, 3,182. The next greatest, 3,152. And my smallest number, 3,128. So now I have least to greatest here, and this one is greatest to least. Very good. Let's see what our next. So that was task A. Let's go to task B. Task B says order the numbers below from least to greatest and greatest to least. So this is asking the same thing, just different numbers, and they have put them they put them horizontally instead of vertically. So vertically is easier if they give it to you vertically because you can compare it right there. My hint to you on this one is to go ahead and rewrite those numbers vertically, one right under the other. Make sure that you are lining them up place by place. Pause your video, come back to this when you are ready to start again, and then you will press resume. Okay, sorry, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so you can see all the numbers on my paper. Okay, so order the numbers from least to greatest again, least to greatest, and greatest to least. So the same thing we did in the first task, it's just our numbers are done vertically. So I'm going to take the first number here and I'm just going to rewrite it. And this is the ones units, the thousands, and the millions. So this is 349,608,379. Okay, I'm going to take the next number, and it's the same length, so we should line this up really well. 349 million 609,079. And then my last one, I'm going to take it and write it underneath this one, 349,628,879. Okay, so from here, I can see how my place values line up. Okay, so um, looking at the greatest column, which is the 100 millions, I see that all of those have the same digit of 3. So I cannot compare yet. I'm just going to mark lightly through there. I look to the next column, which is the 10,000s, and it has all 4s. So I can't compare those yet. So I'm just kind of gonna so I know that I'm looking at the next one. That's why I do that. So I can tell exactly which one I'm looking at. You could use a highlighter on your paper so you don't lose the number. But anyway, I look to the millions place, and they are all the same again. Can't do it. Look to the next place, which is the 100,000s. They are all the same again. Somebody's trying to mess us up here, I think. They like to be tricky. But I look to the 10,000s place and I see I have a 0, and a 2. So I do not know which is the very smallest, the least one, because zeros are less than 2. But I do know my greatest. So I can go ahead and write the greatest one down. I can go ahead and do my greatest to least first. And I know that this one is going to be my greatest one. 349,628,879. So I'm finished with that number. All right, and I'm finished with this column. So I'm done with this number, so I don't want to use it. I'm using the thousands place, but only with these top 2 numbers. And so it's 8 and 9. 8 is less than 9, so 349,608,379 is my smallest number. This is my least number. This is my greatest number. But since I started over here doing least to greatest because I had actually found the greatest one first. Oops, sorry. That wasn't it. I was supposed to be going least to greatest, but I found the greatest one first. So it's greatest to least. So let's this one in the middle is going to be your next largest one because we know that this one is greater than the first one. So this is 349,609,079. Finish with that one, and then I can write my one that is the least, which is 349,608,379. Okay, so that was greatest to least. Now let's do our least to greatest because we need to make sure that we're doing the ones, everything that the problem tells us to. So least to greatest, and I'm working on that one. So if I know that this one here is greatest to least, if I just write those numbers in the opposite order, I have my greatest and my least to greatest. So my least one is this one up here, this 349,608,379. That's my smallest. My next number is the one that's in between. It's also listed right here. That would be 349 million. Oops. 609,079. And then my greatest number is, same as here, 349,628,879. Okay, so now I know that I've done both of those. See, that's a good strategy to go ahead and check those off in the problem so you know you've answered it both ways. Because sometimes a real frequent thing for students to do is to just do the first one that they see and forget to answer the second part of the question. All right, so let's go to our next thing, which is our work. So this is what you're going to do on your own. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice on it. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my document camera. Okay, so this is called paper recycling. This is the assignment I need you to turn in. And I know that a lot of times when you turn the things in, um, since I have everything under one assignment for the day, sometimes it turns everything in, and that's fine. Just don't purposely, don't think you need to individually uh, turn them in. This is the thing I need. Plus, in a minute, I'll show you the cool down that I do need. Okay, so it says the table below shows the total number of pounds of paper, blue skies. Texas. Oh, let me read that again. The table below shows the total number of pounds of paper, blue skies, Texas, recycled over a 5-year time period. Use the information in the table to answer the questions. So here I have my table, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use this table to answer. Needed to focus it a little bit, I think. To answer these questions that come underneath it. Okay, so the first question says, which year had the least total number of pounds of paper recycled? What is the value of the digit in the 10 millions place? So that number one is asking you two questions. Which year had the least total, and what is the value of the digit in the 10 millions place for that number? So you're going to come in here, you're going to put your numbers. I would put them from least to greatest, and then you could also do greatest to least, like we did in the tasks. So, so you can really get a good picture of what, so that you go when you go in and you answer these questions, it should be fairly easy. Number two says, which year had the greatest total number of pounds of paper recycled? So here you're looking for the greatest. And then what is the value of the digit in the hundred thousands place? So once again, this is asking you two questions. Number three, you're going to use greater than, less than, or equal to create a comparison statement about the greatest total number of pounds of paper recycled and the next to greatest. So the greatest you're going to do, so you're making a comparison between the greatest total number of pounds paper recycled and the next to the greatest. So that one that is right. So on this, I would hint to you, I would go ahead and order this from least to greatest, and that should be able to help you out. Number four says order the 5 total pounds of paper from greatest to least. So if you've already done them from least to greatest, remember the same numbers, you're just going to write them the opposite way. Then there is a question about communicating about mathematics. I do like for you to complete these because it tells us what you're thinking. When comparing the data for 2010 and 2012, which place value indicates which number is larger and why? So it's asking you, when you compared 2010 and 2012, what is it that helped you, that you had to compare to figure out which number was larger and why you did that? So that's just, you're kind of doing what I explained, helped you with in the tasks, task A and B. So if you need to review back to those, you certainly may. That's always what's kind of nice about having the having this in a video for you, because you can go, wait, I didn't get that. Let me rewind. Okay, so the last thing that you need for today is the cool down, the lesson 7 cool down. I'm just going to go over it real briefly with you. If I can find my Active Inspire, there we go. Okay, so here is number 1 for the cool down lesson. The table below shows the number of points scored by a group of friends playing a video game tournament. Okay, so you got this information here, but the questions come after it. List the group of friends in order from greatest number of points scored to the least number of points scored. So what are you doing? Greatest to least. Okay. Number 2 says write a comparison statement using the symbols less than, greater than, or equal to that compares the points scored by all 4 friends. think I'm going to go back and show you a an example of that. But you're going to be writing a comparison statement using symbols. Okay. Then the second page of it is the weight of 4 hippos at a zoo. If the hippos are listed in order from least weight to greatest weight, which hippo would come third in the list? So you're going to order these in from least to greatest, and then figure out which one is third in the list. And then I want you to look at your answer choices and come and find the one that has them correctly listed as the third one, the same one that you got as the third one. All right, the last one is you have a chart, and the difference here is you're listing the countries. List these countries in order from shortest to longest. That's another way of saying least to greatest. Okay, but it's asking you for the countries, not the you're going to use the numbers to figure out which countries. Okay, so your answer is going to be the countries in order from the least one to the greatest one. All right, so good luck on that. Oh, let me go back and show you what I wanted to show you. I'll do it with this one. There is, you don't see it in this one, but you might see it another way. Wait, let me go back. Oh yeah, because this pertains to question number 2. And you'll also see this on your concept unit test on Wednesday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the numbers and I'm just going to do them in order of the way they're listed. So I'm going to say 3,195, and is that greater than or less than 3,152? It is greater than 3,152. Okay. And what about 3,152 compared to 3,182? Well, the elephant is less than. 3,152 is less than 3,182 because the 5 is less than the 8. So the elephant is less than the hippopotamus, 1,182. And then we're comparing the hippopotamus to the giraffe, and the giraffe is less than the hippopotamus. 28. So the numbers aren't ordered from least to greatest or greatest to least, but I'm showing how they compare based on my symbols. So I have 3,195 is greater than 3,152. And that means that 3,152 is less than 3,182. And 3,182 is less than 3,128. So that's how you can answer that, a way that you can answer that question number 2 on your cool down. All right, so that takes us to the end of today's lesson. Good luck on all of your assignments today, and this will conclude our content unit. And so on, just a heads up on, let's see, start on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we'll be doing a review of everything that you've learned in the content unit. And on Thursday, you'll be taking your content assessment. All right, so bye for now.